Okay, today I'm going to cover the importance of fact-finding in life insurance. So here at Senior Life Services, my division, we specifically sell final expense life insurance over the phone. So we sell policies to people aged 50 to 85, whole life policies, to help them cover their funerals, any final expenses, any medical bills that may come up, stuff like that. Excuse me while I put on my no excuses, only results count hat. So the purpose of fact-finding, there's a few reasons why fact-finding is important and what it does, okay? Some life insurance agents overlook the most important part of fact-finding, which is figuring out why the client wants the policy in the first place and how we design a program to fit the problem that they have. Okay, so fact-finding, first of all, as a lot of us know, just comes down to, hey, what's the client qualify for? Do they qualify for a great rate? Do they qualify for a low rate, an expensive rate? Do they qualify for, what program they qualify for? So that comes down to the health questions, like exactly what's your health? Do you smoke? Man or woman? Date of birth? Stuff like that. Those fact-finding questions help us qualify the client for the specific program they qualify for. However, the most important part of fact-finding is finding what the need is. So more important than what they qualify for is finding what the need is. And let me give you an example why. A healthy person will get a crappy guaranteed acceptance policy or get a crappy work policy that won't be around when they leave the job, or the guaranteed issue policy will be very expensive and it'll have a 2-year waiting period. There won't be any additional riders or benefits or features on it. And they'll get that to solve the problem that they have, right? However, someone who doesn't have a problem to cover won't get a policy regardless of how good it is. Okay, so as agents, sometimes we're focused so much on, oh my gosh, this guy qualifies for the best plan. Cool, well, and they don't care really what they qualify for. They really don't care what they qualify for. I'm gonna say it right here. They do not care what they qualify for. Maybe like small percentage. What they care about is solving the problem that their family's gonna pass when they die. So you have to look from their point of view with the fact finding, okay? As an agent, when you're like, oh man, whoa, you qualify for these amazing rates with all these extra benefits, cool. Well, doesn't matter if they don't have a need, because they won't get a policy to cover something they don't need to cover regardless of how good the program is. So fact-finding helps us find their dominant buying motive. It's why do they want the policy. It's exactly why they want the program. The DBM is what keeps them up at night. It's what providing the program will give them peace of mind on. And in order to answer the DBM, we have to ask the right questions. So there's a few questions here that we can ask in fact-finding to build up the need and kind of get them a little more, maybe bring that dominant buying motive to the surface so that they know. Because sometimes they don't even know, they have an idea, but they can't pinpoint it, right? It's like when you ask someone, what makes you happy? What'll make you happy? They're like, I don't know. Well, not money, even though money solves 95% of the problems that most of us have anyway, right? In some way. But it's hard for them to really sometimes pinpoint it. And that's your job. You got to pull that out of them. You have to help them understand, why do they want this program? Why is it important to them? Without finding out the why, you're not going to get them to buy. If you don't know the why, they're not going to buy. So fact finding to build the need. Like, why have you taken so long to get a policy in place, Ms. Jones? Keep in mind, anybody watching this, we sell from people for 50 to 85 whole life policies to help cover final expenses, medical costs, stuff like that. So if you don't sell life insurance to that age group or that type, apply this in your own way. I promise the principles will work across the board in life insurance sales and maybe insurance sales in general. So why have you taken this long to get a policy in place? What took you so long? Ma'am, you're 65. Why haven't you done this already? Would have been way cheaper when you were younger and you would have got more coverage. Like, why'd you put it off, right? Make them answer you. When you ask these questions, make them answer, demand an answer. Because they may not want to tell you why, right? Maybe they thought, oh, I can't get approved because someone told them they couldn't like 20 years ago. You never know. What struggles would your family face tomorrow if you passed away today, right? During the holidays like it is now, hey, if you passed away tomorrow, how different would Christmas be for your family? You guys get together at Christmas? Yeah. Okay, if something happened to you tomorrow, how different would Christmas be for your grandkids and your kids? Right? Would your grandkids get the same presents, or would mom and dad end up spending money on your funeral and the grandkids wouldn't have the same Christmas after all this crazy year that we're dealing with the pandemic? Right? Why is getting a program important to you right now? right? I know you recently requested this information. Like, why now though? Why is it so important now? Did something happen? Did someone pass away in your life? Did you get sick? Were you thinking about someone whose funeral you had to take care of before? Maybe you saw a friend, family member, you saw it on TV, maybe you got scared because of the pandemic. Why? Why is it important to you now? Right? What's on your head? What's keeping you up at night thinking about this thing? Right? How can you justify spending money on a life insurance program, ma'am? You're on fixed income. How do you justify spending that extra money on it? They're gonna tell you why. Okay? This is how you kind of help them bring the need to the surface. And do you believe what I'm telling you is the truth? So as you're going through your presentation and you're telling them, hey ma'am, real quick, do you believe what I'm telling you right now? Do you believe what I'm telling you is the truth and that it's in your good interest to do this? All right? Ask them, and get them to judge where they are in terms of how convinced they are that you are someone that they want to work with. Now this is fact finding to find the exact need. Will this program cover a funeral or a cremation? Very simple, funeral, cremation, okay? Now, will you want your new program, next one, will you want your new program to cover any medical expenses that will most likely come up as you near the end of your life? You're gonna say, oh, no, I don't know, and nah, they don't even think of that. A lot of people don't even think of that. Man, you know that a funeral in your state's about $10,000 to $12,000, right? You know how much the average person in your state spends on their final medical expenses? This is probably way lowballed, but this is what statistics have shown. About $10,000 to $20,000, right? Just in the last few months of their life in medical expenses. Never mind if they're paying out of pocket for a nursing home and all this other stuff. That's hundreds of thousands of dollars in the last years. Now, would you want this program to cover those medical expenses, or would you want your family to have to pay them, right? Do you have a separate policy to cover that? Are you on Medicaid? Do you have savings to cover that, or do you want your family to pay them? Because Medicaid, if you don't have it, will not kick in unless you have absolutely no money. Now, would you, before you pass, next one, before you pass, would, beneficiary name, would Johnny be taking care of you if you got really sick and couldn't take care of yourself? Which happens to about 70% of people. Yeah, he would. Okay, now would you want to supplement any lost wages that Johnny will face when he takes that time off from work to take care of you? And his bills are going to increase, but his income will decrease because he's going to have to pay for your stuff too. He's got another mouth to feed and all the medical expenses that come on top of it, and he's going to have to take time off from work. So his income will drop a little bit. All right? So do you want to be able to supplement those lost wages for your family? Okay? Now, those are just some ways to fact find and find the need that the insurance will cover. Another one, do you have any family that'll be traveling to your services, right? Do you have any idea that you'd want to pay for? Do you have any idea that the cost of these programs double, right? The cost of these programs double every 12 years, 12 to 15 years, right? Well, it's about 20. Every 15 to 20 years. That cost of funeral expenses double. Just show an inflation rate, right? So, man, did you know that a $10,000 funeral today will cost about $20,000 in 20 years? Did you know that? So this is like, what these questions are doing is making them understand, whoa, I probably need way more insurance than I thought. Okay? This helps prepare you to go in and present way higher coverage amounts and have them think, oh my gosh, I should have done this like 2 years ago. I should have done this 20 years ago. Fact finding when they have existing coverage. So the next questions I'm going to go over are questions that you ask when someone already has coverage in place. When you took that policy out, what was it intended to cover? Right? Someone tells you, oh, I have an insurance policy, not a whole life, I have a life insurance policy. Oh, is it a term, a whole life, how much you pay a month, Like, that's such an amateur way to approach it. You don't go in like that. It's very easy to think that's how you want to approach it. But when you go in, oh, a term, a whole life, what do you pay? It's all you're thinking is replacing, because that's how you shop. Right? You're trying to save 10 cents on every one of your bills every month. Ms. Jones, if I can save you half a penny, will you get a policy with me instead? Because maybe that's how you shop. But like, we can't do that. We have to just approach it in a professional way. Yeah, granted, if they just got a guaranteed issue policy and they can get an amazing rate with us, then of course maybe a replacement makes sense. A lot of times it doesn't. When you look at that policy that you took out before, what was it intended to cover? Why did you take that one out? And this will help you understand some of their needs that they may have forgotten about, right? You want to bring these to the surface. Well, when I pass, my son's going to have to take care of this. Okay, cool. and break that down. So when they tell you how much they have, you want to break it down. Hey, did you know that you're actually short about this much insurance if you want that covered now and long into the future, including your medical expenses? Now, if you could knowing that, next question, if you could go back, would you have gotten more at the time? If the agent that you worked with at first showed you all this stuff, would you have gotten back? Would you have gotten more if you could go back, right? And then next, was that coverage purchase worth it to you? Okay, so was it worth it to you to get that policy in place, right? Do you feel like you've kind of been paying on something that doesn't matter, or is it important every month to make sure that bill's paid? Okay, those are just a few simple questions, guys, that you can ask to build the need. Okay, so help them understand like why this is something that's important, and then finding the exact need that they're going to solve. So it's logical and emotional, right? The logical part, the emotional parts, when you build the need, make them understand, well, I should have done this way longer ago. Why is this important to me? What's it going to do? What pain are my kids going to face, or is my family going to face when I pass? The next finding part of it is finding out exactly how much coverage they should get. It's just a financial needs analysis. It's so important. You got to figure out exactly what to quote them on, or else they can't justify spending money. You know, you may know that they needed $30,000 in life insurance and it's $150 a month, but they're like, they don't know that that's how much they need, and you didn't break it down. Have them write it down too. Be okay, funeral's this much today, this much tomorrow, and then this is this much that much, this much that, because we do it on the phone, so we have to have our clients write it down. And then next is fact finding regarding their existing coverage, so that we can show them, you know, very, very few chances to replace it. Most of the time it's, hey, how much you got to add to that because you are way underinsured. So thank you guys for tuning in. Remember, hit the subscribe button and click the like button if you found this beneficial to you. Thank you so much. Stay tuned in. I'm going to be providing value. Try to do it every single day, at least every other day. I want to provide a ton of content here for you guys to watch. And let me know if you have any questions, suggestions, comments. If you have any topics you want me to make a video on. I've probably ran into the issue 100 times just in the last 6 months. So let me know what you want me to cover. Thank you, everybody.